It's finally happened. With Lewis Hamilton on his way to Maranello, I was immediately reminded of back in the day when Sebastian Vettel left the colourful cows for Ferrari. What grand Spinola memes were born out of that move. Then I remembered Alonso joining them, and Prost. Well, maybe there's a video here. Elite drivers who couldn't bring success to Ferrari. Yes, for every Alonso there is a Lauda. For every Prost there is a Schumacher. If indeed Hamilton does race in red, will he be the success he was at McLaren and Mercedes, or a flubbering flop? Who knows? Interesting note though, Hamilton in a Ferrari would be the first time in Formula 1 that the Sir of weird outfits and breaking records would not be powered by a Mercedes power unit. I obviously lack the intelligence to tell you why elite drivers fail at Ferrari. But here's my list of some of those drivers who did. For some criteria to be included on the list, a driver had to have won a World Drivers title at a team other than Ferrari. So sorry Gilles Villeneuve fans, that disqualifies an obviously elite driver who also couldn't win a Ferrari title. A decent question would be, why would elite drivers keep joining a team that seems to specialize in grabbing defeat from the jaws of victory? The answer isn't as obvious as that. Yes, the prancing horse haven't won the World Drivers title since 2007, but they are almost always a top 3 team. They, with maybe McLaren, are the royalty, the legends of the sport. They have the big bucks to spend on drivers and a massive fan base that treats drivers like heroes. There is no question that despite the lack of success, and if you take Schumacher's 5 titles out of the equation, Ferrari have won the title only in 1979, and then again in 2007 and never since. That's rough. Ferrari do however still have pulling power. Carlos Sainz will probably be the one to make way for Sir Lewis, dropped McLaren immediately when offered the chance to go to Ferrari. Vettel ran there, Kimi, Schumacher, Berger, Alonso. The list of quality drivers willing to fight for a seat at the Little Horses is and will seemingly remain endless. First on our list, Fernando Alonso, the complete anti-Lewis Hamilton, in his own mind anyway. Alonso still seems to hold grudges from 2007 against Lewis. Extremely talented driver, double world champion for Renault, the man who dethroned Michael Schumacher. Quite the CV the man has. Unfortunately, he has the habit of joining the right team at the wrong time, Aston Martin excluded. For 5 seasons he drove the living daylights out of those red cars, coming so very close to be beaten by Vettel and Red Bull again and again and again. 3 times he was World Drivers' Championship runner-up for Ferrari. That's even beyond David Coulthard levels of almost winning stuff. Alonso won 11 races for the Scuderia. That's one more than 2007 world champion Kimi Räikkönen did, but it just didn't work out for the super Spaniard at Ferrari. He probably claimed closest in 2010, and I quote Wikipedia, he won 5 races that season and entered the season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, leading by 8 points after being 47 behind mid-season following errors. Alonso finished runner-up to Vettel after finishing 7th, thereby losing 19 points to Vettel, who won the race, end quote. In 2012, he built a 40-point lead in the World Drivers' Championship before bad luck and Ferrari being Ferrari smashed his lead, and again he finished runner-up to Vettel. Alonso would leave for a then rubbish McLaren before ending up at Aston Martin and having a brilliant 2023. Giuseppe Nino Farina. History remembers Farina as the very first ever Formula 1 world champion. Driving for Alfa Romeo, he won the driver's title in 1950. After spending years battling Fangios, Alfas, Mercs and Maseratis unsuccessfully in the Ferrari, Fangio then joined Ferrari in 1956 and promptly won another title. Being partnered by legendary Alberto Ascari didn't help Farina either. Being 43 or 44 years old by the time he won the World Drivers' Championship also didn't quite play into his lap. The very first World Drivers' Champion failed to repeat his success at Ferrari and won only 1 race for them in 4 seasons. Alain Prost. Oh, I love the professor. The only man who could match Senna in equal machinery, although I'm sure Rosberg believes he could do as well. The man who won 4 World Drivers' Championships and 50-odd Grand Prix spent 2 seasons at Ferrari, joining as World Drivers' Champion in 1990. Prost was the first driver signed after the death of Enzo Ferrari, joined at the team by fellow member on this list, Nigel Mansell. He won 5 races in 1990 and battled Senna's McLaren for the title to finish as runner-up. Then came 1991 and it all went to hell in a handbag. The Frenchman failed to win a race that year, the only season of his career except his debut, that he won 0 GPs in. What went wrong? Well, the fuel-guzzling V12 Ferrari was just no match for the fast and fuel-efficient V10 Hondas McLaren had, and the Williams and McLaren chassis were streets ahead of the Ferrari effort. As results didn't come, Prost grew frustrated, and I quote his Wikipedia page, Prost won no races, only getting onto the podium 5 times. He took this out on the team, publicly criticizing the team and the Ferrari 643, and subsequently had his contract terminated before the end of the season, immediately prior to the Australian Grand Prix. End quote. Prost would go on to Williams after a season sabbatical and won a 4th and final World Drivers' Championship. Nigel Mansell. You knew he would be here, didn't you? The man, the mustache, the destroyer of my McLaren-shaped little heart as a kid in 1992. He raced for Maranello for 2 seasons in 89 and 90, winning 3 races and finishing 4th and 5th in the championship. Mansell was the last driver that Enzo Ferrari signed for the Scuderia. But things never quite worked out for mighty Mansell at Ferrari. Known as Il Leone or the Lion by the Tifosi because of his fearless driving style, the fans loved him. He was led to believe that the 1989 was a development year and that he would be challenging for the title in 1990. Then Prost signed, and Mansell suddenly became the team's number 2. The car was unreliable and Prost was getting preferential treatment. And I'm quoting that goldmine of sometimes trustworthy knowledge, Wikipedia once more. At the 1990 British Grand Prix, the car he drove did not handle the same as in the previous race, where he had taken pole position. On confronting the mechanics, it transpired that Prost saw Mansell as having the superior car, and as a result, they were swapped without telling Mansell. After retiring from the race, he announced he was retiring from the sport altogether at the end of the season, end quote. Mansell would famously change his mind, rejoin Williams, and won a Verstappen-Levenov dominant World Drivers' Championship in 1992. Mario Andretti, oh boy, the man whose son will not be entering Formula 1 with Andretti Cadillac anytime soon. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot FIA. Mario spent 2 seasons at Ferrari. At the 1971 South African Grand Prix, on his debut for Ferrari, he won his first race. In 1971 and 72 he drove for Ferrari, but only part-time, splitting his time with his North American racing career, only winning the single race. He would later power the gorgeous Lotus 78-79 to the World Drivers' Championship in 1978 and end up winning 12 GPs in his Formula 1 career. He would also win 52 Champ or IndyCar or whatever it's called races, as well as 4 of their Drivers' Championships. Pretty solid stuff. His boy Michael joined McLaren in the early 90s. But that was about as successful as his bid to have Andretti Racing join the grid. And finally, Sebastian Vettel. Ah yes, who could forget the epic battles Vettel had with Hamilton, the race for the 5th World Drivers' Championship. Then the spinning started and it all went south from there. Vettel at Red Bull was a beast. He faced down Alonso in the Ferrari and won 4 straight World Drivers' Championships. The man was seen as Schumi's natural successor, so it was seen as logical when he moved to join Ferrari. Who could know that Mercedes would be so freakishly good the next what felt like a million years? Vettel would win 14 races at Ferrari, the 3rd most by any Ferrari driver in history. He won 39 at Red Bull. He would finish 2nd in 2017 and 18, only behind Lewis, even beating Bottas in the 2nd Merc, but he just couldn't get over the hill and win the World Drivers' Championship for Ferrari. The man gave it everything and the fans loved him for it. When he was beaten on the track, he gave us brilliant interviews and even suggested a different finish in the Parc Fermé after a race. But it all came to nothing. Lewis beat him by 363 points to 2017 by 408 to 320 in 2018. And that was all she wrote. Thank you, Jessica Fletcher. The vet would soldier on for a few more years before being smashed by young teammate Leclerc and finishing off his career riding scooters and beating Stroll at Aston Martin. I see Vettel as a possible underachiever despite his 4 World Drivers' Championships for Red Bull, because with a bit more luck he and even Alonso could have been Ferrari champions. But yeah, I guess like my grandfather always said, Take some luck in your left hand, let a chicken poop in the right. Compare the two hands and you'll find the poop has more substance than the luck.
I don't remember the question.
So, is Ferrari the reason drivers fail there? Is it the pressure? Is it the sometimes lack of clear tactics? Or maybe even an attitude at Ferrari of seeming arrogance? Honestly, I don't know. No other team has such loyal fans. No other team has the ability to sign drivers so far above their seeming on-track ability sometimes. It's just the magic of Maranello, I guess. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if there are topics that you want us to make videos about, hit us up in the comments. Maybe we'll have a go at making some of them, if the old lack of brain power allows. Please consider subscribing and sharing the videos you enjoy. It really does help us smaller channels out. God bless. Goodbye.